There aren't many more iconic and immediately recognizable bikes in biking world, and the GSX 1300R Hayabusa shocked the two-wheeled world when it was launched in 1999. The design brief was simple: wade into the hypersport motorcycle market and come out on top. And the Hayabusa, which translates to peregrine falcon, a bird of prey which has a top speed dive of 200 and preys on blackbirds, and just did that. Styled and designed to purpose, Hayabusa made an impression the moment you noticed it, with its flowing lines aimed at making it as aerodynamic as possible, allowing it to cut through air with ease. Koji Yoshiura, who described the idea he set out to achieve, saying, "The concept of the first Hayabusa was to create an original and dominating impact with superior aerodynamics, as well as being the most powerful sports bike. Design it with the intention of getting attention. Using a unique motorcycle design, it needed to be the ultimate road-legal motorcycle with the highest performance from mass-produced bikes." It was immediately heralded as the fastest production bike on the market. At the launch, top speeds were clocked at the same point on the track as they were for the 500cc GP race the year before, with the Hayabusa just 5 miles an hour slower than the quickest prototype racer of the day bike at the same point of the straight. And it wasn't flat out. It wasn't just the phenomenal power that the bike was praised for. The smooth 1299cc inline 4-cylinder engine provided masses of torque, making the Hayabusa more than just a road-legal missile, but a user-friendly, real-world motorcycle capable of shrinking continents. It became an immediate hit and cult status followed, with the Hayabusa becoming an icon. It was, and indeed still is, the weapon of choice for top-speed chasers, while drag racing strips became its second home. Apart from an upgraded ECU, revised fuel injection settings and front suspension, it went relatively unchanged in the early years, until a radical over 2008 model. The Hayabusa was back with a bang. 8 years after the original debut in Spain, updates included a stronger and more powerful engine, which increased the displacement to 1340cc, with new lighter and stronger engine internals and a new gearbox and a further torque throughout the RPM range, and to deal with the extra heat and power, and new curved radiator helped keep the engine cool. The newest exhaust system featured a new oxygen sensor used by the engine management system to increase combustion efficiency by adjusting the amount of fuel injected into the cylinders, and wind tunnel testing for the 2008 model centered around design refinements aimed at redesign wind protection for the rider, while remaining true to the original design and iconic styling. Wind flow over and around the rider, both when in a normal seating position as well as when completely tucked in, was improved. There were also changes to the front and rear suspension, brakes, frame, and wheels. It was immediately known as the birth of a legend by MCN, with senior road tester at the time Adam Child writing, "The word legendary is overused, so is iconic, but both justify Suzuki's Hayabusa." The Salzburg was the perfect track for the relaunch of the Hayabusa, with 2 long straights, flat-out kinks and fast corners. And nearly 10 years after the original model wowed the assembled motorcycle press, here it was, at it again. After its introduction in 1999, it was back to reaffirm itself at the top. In 2013, fast forward another 5 years, and Brembo block front calipers graced the front end, which are lighter and more rigid than conventional bolt-together calipers, delivering better feedback to the rider, and to further aid stopping power, lightweight, high-performance ABS featured to match stopping power to available traction. It also came with new Bridgestone BT015S, again, specially made for the Hayabusa. As GSX-R 1000S, GSX-R 1000RS moved the super sport game on, with faster engine and superior handling. The Hayabusa place moved further into high-speed comfort. Already a string in its bow, the Hayabusa was the ideal tool for swallowing huge miles in speed and comfort, with assured handling and performance. But with tighter emissions regulations starting into force, the Hayabusa disappeared from European model ranges after 2018. But in February 2021, a new version was announced. The 3rd-gen Hayabusa was here, retaining everything that made it so good, and getting updates to make it even better. Over 550 new parts come with the new Hayabusa, the new hyperbike using a similarly iconic and uniquely individual Hayabusa aerodynamic silhouette and styling, a heavily redesigned engine including new pistons, conrods, crankshaft, and camshaft, specifically aimed at producing enhanced performance in the lower to mid-rev ranges, making it the fastest launching Hayabusa yet. A comprehensive suite of electronics that includes IMU-governed ABS and traction control, cruise control, launch control, bidirectional quick shifter, engine brake control, 3 power modes, plus 3 preset rider modes and 3 user-defined modes, and new chassis, with a new subframe, new brakes, and new suspension settings. Since the Hayabusa ceased to exist in Europe, the biking landscape has changed, not just from the standpoint of stricter emissions regulations, but also a marketplace. The Hayabusa need to keep chasing peak power figures was no longer there. Instead, the focus was on thrust, While later sports bikes push out more peak power, even grunty GSX-Rs can't compete with the Hayabusa shove at the bottom end. And the third-gen Hayabusa has an even fatter torque curve, providing a wider spread of power in the lower rev ranges, which makes building speed effortless. The biggest change, however, came in the electronics department. A sophisticated suite of electronics means the new Hayabusa has everything you could want or need to cover ground quickly and in comfort, but it also stops short of technology for technology's sake, meaning that it could be the next Hayabusa in coming years. We'll be at it together. It means the Hayabusa story continues and another chapter will be written.